And welcome to another edition of Completely Unoriginal right here at DakotaBroadcasting.com. I'm Adam St. Paul.
Kurt Campbell here. Welcome back. We've had a bit of a break from the show, so we're kind of aching to get back into things here, and we're doing it in a big way this week. Adam, you've got something special for us.
Yeah, we do. Okay, so let me just walk you through my Sunday, all right?
Okay.
Kurt, what I like to do is after I get up and go to church maybe mow the lawn or something, I have some downtime. I always go to one of my favorite online media groups, YouTube channels, as it were, called Screen Junkies. And if you have not seen Screen Junkies before, I highly recommend you check them out. They do something called Honest Trailer, where
those are great.
Yes, if you have seen them.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those.
And those are pretty popular across the net. They're relatively new. I think they're only about 2 years old when it comes to online media and stuff. My overlords over at Red Letter Media, they've been around since like 2004, so they've been on a long time. But nevertheless, point is, I love to go on, and they do a thing on Sundays called Movie Fights, and it's about hour and a half, hour 15 minutes podcast, and basically they just they fight about movies, whether it's, do you think Ben Affleck will make a good Batman? What additions should be made to the Fast and Furious franchise, and so on and so forth. Then they get points for who has the best argument.
Okay.
So imagine my surprise when a couple of weeks ago I sat down at my computer to watch that Sunday's episode, and lo and behold, they did a fan episode where the Screen Junkies actually invited fans on, and not only did they do that, but they brought on a South Dakotan from Redfield.
Yeah.
And that is who is joining us today. His name is Tony Zerr. He is from Redfield, and he got to spend a Sunday and probably a little bit more with the Screen Junkies. Tony, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you here, our own internet celebrity with us. That's pretty cool. Since this is kind of new to me, what have you been a fan of the Screen Junkies for a while, and this was just something you kind of wanted to get involved with, or how did that work for you?
I came around the Screen Junkies around their third or fourth Honest Trailer, right when they started kind of mixing up the movie voice guy that does the movie voices and everything.
Right.
And so there was only about 3 or 4 of them out there, and I just loved them. And so every week I started watching more, and I watched. That turned me on to the Screen Junkies show with Hal Rudnick, where they bring on sometimes celebrities, Patton Oswalt, Hal Rudnick's gone out and interviewed Morgan Freeman, Robert De Niro, lots of different guys.
Wow.
And so I was a fan of the show, and then just about a couple months ago I started watching their movie fights and everything. They were kind of long for me, an hour and a half long. I got 4 kids and stuff, so it's tough to get that hour and a half in. But I started watching them, and one day, just out of the blue, I see on my Facebook feed, hey, do you want to come and be a part of Movie Fights? Answer these questions in a minute-long video, and I just submitted something at like 11 o'clock at night, and lo and behold, they took me out there to L.A.
Now, had you ever posted like a video response on YouTube before, or had you ever posted any content on YouTube before that would like lead you to believe that you had a good enough argument, or lead you to believe that you had the chops to go out to L.A. and fight about your topics and everything?
Well, I have a YouTube channel. I've had it for a couple years now, called Tube Review, and I've reviewed movies, and I did for a while I did Tube's trailer reviews, and those broadcast on the radio every Friday in Aberdeen. But they when sports season came up last year, we had to cut those out and everything. So and I've done a couple here and there, and then one of my most popular things on my YouTube thing is the trailers for Tube Review. I just mash up a bunch of different movie clips and stuff, and people seem to like those and are clamoring to have those back because I haven't done one in a long time. But I have a pretty firm grasp of movie knowledge, I would say, and just in my years of reviewing movies and stuff, I could make a good argument. So I figured, why not? I'll give it a shot.
You were wearing the Batman logo on the shirt for that Screen Junkies episode. We're going to talk some Batman a little later on. I've been excited to ask you a couple of questions. But walk us through then the process after that. You put your video on, you get a phone call, you get an email. How did the Screen Junkies contact you? And from there, they fly you out, and just walk us through how they got you ready to fight your 2 fellow fans on that episode.
Well, about a week after I sent them, you have to send the video in to their email so they get it, and I did it like the day or the day after they posted it, and they said, the earlier you do it, the better chances you have. So I figured, I should probably get it in quick. So I did it really quick that night, like I said, and sent it to them at about 11 o'clock, and then about a week later, Dan Merle, Dan the Man, the Movie Fights champion, emailed me and just said, we really liked your video. We'd like to have a Skype session with you either today or tomorrow. Are you free? So the next day we ended up having a Skype session. It was just me and Dan, and I think he was trying to vet me as a geek because he threw a bunch of nerd questions at me. I think he wanted to see how I did on the spot.
Wanted to check your cred, in other words, yeah.
Right.
Do you have any examples off the top of your head of what those questions were?
One of them was, what's your least favorite Marvel movie from the Marvel Cinematic Universe? And I said Thor: The Dark World.
That would make sense. I actually hadn't seen that one yet, but okay, good. I like that answer.
All right, good answer.
Yeah, and there was a couple other ones. I think one of them was the best rated or the best action film, and then I just kind of went back to my video because the three questions in my audition video were best movie vehicle, best R-rated action movie, and movie you do not want to see a sequel to.
Those are good questions.
Yeah, and so I did about a minute and a half long of The DeLorean, Total Recall, and then I don't want to see any more Terminator movies.
Oh,
you and
boy,
me
it's going to be a bad summer for you guys. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you, though.
So then, you answer that. You talk with Dan Merle, and then you what happens next?
Well, he said, you're a front runner. We have about 9 people that we're looking at and everything. So we'll be in touch. And I was still just kind of under the assumption that I wasn't going to be chosen because I live in Redfield, South Dakota. I'm so far out of the way of any airports and stuff like that that they're not going to want to fly me out. But my wife kept me optimistic, and I was about 90% I'm not going, and about 10% I'm woo-hee, I'm going. And they emailed me the next day after my Skype session. They're like, we've chosen you and 2 others, and we're going to fly you out. What's your preference? You want us to fly you out of Redfield? I was like, no, I'll fly out of Aberdeen. I think that'll work. And so yeah, they put me in touch with their people there, and they got all my information and booked the plane tickets and got me a hotel room at the Hilton and right down by Hollywood Boulevard, and flew me out of Aberdeen. And Minneapolis Airport is nuts.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that Skynet has taken over at Minneapolis Airport because every single table that I saw had an iPad on it. I've never seen that before. But flew out of there, flew into L.A., and that was interesting. I've been to New York, now I've been to L.A., so that was interesting.
And that was going to be my next question. Had you been to California or Los Angeles before your trip out there for the Screen Junkies?
Nope, I've never been further west than Red Rocks.
Okay.
So they had one of their guys, a really really nice guy named Brendan, came and picked me up from the airport and took me to In-N-Out Burger.
Yeah.
You can't get that here.
Nope, you can't.
No, but I do. No offense to In-N-Out Burger, their fries were a little weird, I have to say. But other than that, dropped me off at the hotel. I went walking down Hollywood Boulevard that night while thinking. They sent me the questions. They sent me about 10 questions for the next day's movie fight so I could think them over. And so I kind of noodled that around in my head while I walked around Hollywood Boulevard and met a lot of crazy people and got shoved by a homeless person and all sorts of good stuff. Saw Bumblebee walking around. That was pretty cool. He was like 7 feet tall. But yeah, and then the other 2 contestants didn't get in until about midnight. So I was all jacked up, but I figured I would watch a bunch of movie fights just to get myself ready. And the next morning, I just ate breakfast, watched more movie fights, thought about my questions, emailed them back to Dan Merle, and we all met outside to go to the Screen Junkies Defy Media Studios. So
nice.
So I guess how much of the show is edited then? I've always kind of wondered that because it doesn't seem like they do a lot of editing to it. So did they do a lot of trimming and stuff like that, or misrepresent, or not? That's not the right way to put it. But did they, I guess, take out a bunch of stuff or anything that you found important, or just like, oh, I didn't realize that wasn't gonna make it?
Oh no, the only thing that they omitted was, they sent us about 10 questions. And we were only able to argue on 7 of them. So there were 3 questions in there that I didn't get to argue on that kind of stunk because I liked those questions. But that's the only thing they omitted. That the only trimming they did was to the the cut scenes, us behind the scenes meeting Hal Rudnick and Nick Mundy and Spencer and Dan and everybody. That's the only time they did any editing. I mean, you can even hear at the very beginning of the movie fights when they're showing our movie fight, like a little clips of our movie fights. When Brian, my contender's movie fight clip comes on, you can hear me cough in the background. Like they didn't do any editing at all. It was all it was, action and then cut and then let's throw it out there. So
nice.
So after the fight was over, then was it just straight home, or did you hang out with your fellow contestants a little bit, or did you have a chance to maybe mingle with the stars of movie fights a little bit more?
Well, when we got there, we were introduced to it's kind of like the X Factor. We all got coaches, and mine was Nick Mundy, who's a regular on Screen Junkies
and a fan favorite too.
And a fan favorite. And Dan Merle, he was paired with Brian, and Dan's one of the creators of Screen Junkies and stuff. And then Spencer Gilbert, who's one of the lead writers out there, he was paired with Mika, my other contender. And we got a couple hours just to mingle around with everybody and talk to our coaches and get ready with everything. And they took us out to lunch, and we came back and did the movie fights. And then honestly, after that, Andy Signor, the host, just got off a red-eye flight.
Oh man!
And right before he got there, he looked really rugged when he walked in and stuff, and he just looked really tired. So pretty much, honestly, after they said cut, they were like, hey, here's some parting gifts, and thank you so much for being on the show. We all have a lot of stuff to do, so bye. And it was really cool. But Mika and Brian and I went to the Cabo Wabo Cantina down on Hollywood Boulevard and got us some Sammy Hagar experience.
There you go.
So,
nice.
Yeah, and then they ended up going to the Furious 7 at the IMAX at the Chinese Grauman's Theater, but I was trying to conserve my money a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not as huge of a Fast and Furious fan as everybody else seems to be, so I was just kind of like, I'm going to walk around and see what I can do.
You did have easily the best answer to that one, though, and Curt, get this here.
Okay, all right.
The question was who should be added to the Fast and Furious franchise, because they talked about how they added The Rock and how he he and other with writing and everything re-energized and
he's got so much charisma.
Reinvented.
Even in bad movies, he's got so much charisma. I can see that.
He reinvented that series. Well, the question was proposed to the contestants: who should be added? And think of this idea now.
Okay.
Tony's answer was to add the original Smokey and the Bandit, Burt Reynolds, to the. And I love that answer.
He could be like the grandpa that
Well, do a whole looks can be deceiving thing. You bring out a 60-year-old or 70-year-old Burt Reynolds. He doesn't look like he can drive. Next thing you know, he's taking Vin Diesel to task on driving, not fighting. We're not going to go that far.
No. There's only so far you can suspend disbelief, but. That would be fun. Yeah, that would be fun.
I see like that you kind of have that orange tint to all the Fast and the Furious movies to kind of simulate the Southern California feel.
Mm-hmm.
I just see Vin Diesel like walking into a room and seeing a guy sitting in a chair, facing the other way from him, and going in there and saying, talking to him as his dad, and all of a sudden like, holy crap, Dom's dad is still alive, and it's Burt Reynolds, and he's like, I need to borrow the car, Dad.
That'd be entertaining.
That'd be huge. Just a little cameo like that would make my day.
Awesome. Tony, we're running just a little low on time here, so we'll wrap up with a couple more questions. Have you kept in touch? Well, first off, did you meet Hal?
Oh, of course I met Hal.
Now, he always, and I don't like the Minnesota Twins. I've jumped off the bandwagon, but he is always wearing that Minnesota Twins hat. He's not from Minnesota or anything like that. Do you know anything about that? Is he just a fan of the team? Do you know what I'm talking about or not?
I honestly have never seen Hal Rudnick wear a Minnesota Twins hat.
You'll have to go back and watch some movie fights because they're on there. Either way, that's not super important. I was just a kind of a question of my own. Also, I guess do you keep in touch now with any of the guys from Screen Junkies, or maybe your fellow contestants?
Well, the other contestants and I, we have a pretty good dialogue as it comes to like Facebook and Twitter and stuff. We talk back and forth and everything, and a lot of it's mostly about the comments to our video because a lot of them are newsies. But Nick Mundy and I, we chat back and forth on Facebook and on Twitter, and Dan Merle's piped in with a couple things that I've said, and Spencer Gilbert and I've actually thrown him a couple ideas for different kinds of shows and different things for future possible Defy media. But who knows? It's just something we have a little correspondence with, and it's just really nice that he's willing to listen to my ideas and wants to hear them.
So were they all really nice? Did they? It's always nervous, or it's always kind of scary when you're meeting one of your favorite celebrities because you never know if they could just ruin it for you by being jerks. So were they all good to work with and everything?
Oh, I had a ball with every one of them. Nick Mundy and I, we hung out and we talked about, because he just recently got engaged, and so we were talking about that, and Dan Merle and I actually went out to on the Screen Junkies balcony, and he showed me Nakatomi Plaza from Die Hard off in the sunset.
Nice.
And that was just, I was so tickled by that, because here I am standing out there with Dan the Man Merle, and we're looking at, and he's showing me Nakatomi Towers. So that was really cool, and I didn't see much of Spencer behind the scenes, but everybody was really, really nice, and Hal Rudnick was really nice, and he walked us to the elevator before we went to go get lunch, and like I've said in a couple other interviews and stuff, what was really cool was I presented Hal Rudnick with a couple of my toys from my own personal collection to put on the Screen Junkies shelf, and I wish that they would have put that in there, because they had it all on video. They have raw footage of it somewhere, but there's video of me presenting him to Hal, and the look of absolute just enjoyment on his face was just so, it tickled me so much to see that I moved Hal Rudnick with my toy.
Wow.
Nice.
That's very cool. So, Tony, here, before we let you go now, we're going to put you on the spot with our own little mini version of movie fights. And basically, I don't know if you've seen my questions and everything, so if you don't have an answer to it, then so be it. But here's what I wanted to know from you, since you're the big celebrity when it comes to movie knowledge and everything like that. The recent picture has been released of Jared Leto as the Joker in the upcoming Suicide Squad, and of course he's all tatted up, and he's got the silver teeth, and he's big bug-eyed and everything like that, and I think you're a Batman guy, like as I said, judging from your Batman t-shirt that you had on during the movie fights. Have you had a chance to see the picture, and what are your thoughts, what's your opinion on the very first signs, the very first new Joker that we have in this new continuity with DC?
Well, I have seen the picture, and I was first of all, I'm speculative. I'm speculative now about the picture because now there's a bunch of rumors going on that might not be what he looks like. They might be throwing the audience with that picture. So I don't know for sure if that's what he's actually going to look like. But even before that picture came out, he was throwing out a lot of Twitter pictures and stuff, and it kind of ruined it a little bit for me because Heath Ledger's was such a there was such a transformation there that you didn't see until you saw the movie. There was not a lot, until you actually saw the trailer for it. There wasn't pictures all over the internet of him beforehand and stuff, and it added some spice to the mystery. And I just think that oversharing a lot of that stuff, I think it would have been really cool if we didn't see Jared Leto as Joker until we saw like the actual trailer for the movie. But if that's the way they're going, if that's the actual picture and that's what he's going to look like, I'm interested to see what kind of take he brings on it. I've always been a little bit more of a Jack Nicholson Joker fan just because he was more kooky and he was more of a Joker, and Heath Ledger was just he brought out the maniac side of him.
Right.
And I really just kind of liked what Jack Nicholson did with it. Heath Ledger's was amazing. It was more real to life and everything. But I'm interested to see what Jared Leto has to do with it.
It scares me just because if you read the new series or one of the latest series that Frank Miller was involved with when it comes to Batman, All-Star Batman and Robin, they recreated the Joker. They made him huge and ripped and bulky and also gave him a bunch of tats, and he just sucked. But everything about that comic sucked, and Frank Miller has gone insane over the last couple of years, and I know for a fact that he is on the Batman v Superman film, Dawn of Justice, as a consultant. So that really, really terrifies me for that whole thing, and that's the only reason why I didn't like it, is because I don't know what Frank Miller's involvement is with it. Tony, we have to go. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day.
Thanks a lot.
Hopefully,
once again, thanks for having me.
Hopefully we can maybe do this again sometime. But once again, why don't you give your YouTube channel a plug for anyone that wants to come find you online?
Well, my YouTube channel is simply Tube Review. If you type in Tube Review, you'll get the phone book on YouTube. So just hit channels, and it'll be the first one that pops up. And then there's also my Twitter handle, which is @TonyTubesZerr.
Excellent. That's going to do it for this edition of Completely Unoriginal. And I'm Adam St. Paul, and for Curt Campbell, until the next time.